Hey, everybody. You are about to hear a brief retelling of the movie Miller's Girl. Before we get started, hit the like button and subscribe. It may only be a click for you, but it has a significant impact on the channel. Cairo just turned 18, and her parents enjoy traveling overseas, so she lives alone in a large house. Only literature keeps her entertained. She has one dream, to be beloved, and today something new will happen in her life. She will meet a writer like her, teacher Jonathan. He found inspiration in this distant town. Jonathan is surprised when Cairo gets to class early, so he asks where she lives. They talk to one another about their lives. Jonathan is astounded that Cairo has read the entire course. Cairo jokingly says that she likes it harsher, and Winnie enters the study and leads her buddy out to discuss. While they are gone, Jonathan is reading through Cairo's books, but gets distracted by Boris. He quickly understands Jonathan is reading a girl's book because the plot is so nasty, boys would not read it. Coincidentally, Cairo enjoys reading Jonathan's books. He lives with his wife, Beatrice, who is also a writer. He informs her that her student is reading his book. The duo proceeds to dance, but are interrupted by Amy's call. A new day has arrived, and the professors are relaxing on a bench while sipping coffee. Boris worries whether the forest is haunted. Seconds later, Cairo emerges from the trees and approaches the professors. Boris offers cookies, and Jonathan can't keep his eyes away from Cairo. Later, Winnie tries to catch Boris's attention. She states unequivocally that she is interested in their interactions. Cairo describes her as a madman. After class, the friends gather. Cairo admits she's having problems coming up with a topic for a future book. Winnie proposes revisiting an experience that will help you write about the issue, such as an interview with teachers. The problem is that neither of them has had a serious relationship. Winnie wants her first date to be with Boris. Cairo must also realize that Mr. Jonathan is looking at her in some special way, but Cairo denies everything. She spends the rest of the day reading Jonathan's book, and during class, they can't take their eyes off each other. Jonathan asks to come over after class, and Cairo has the same desire swirling around in her head to get all of his attention. A little while later, Jonathan decides to do a little dance, but he is distracted by Cairo. She promises not to give away his infatuation to anyone. Jonathan suggests she attend a poetry class in case something unexpected happens. He read her most recent work and liked it very much. Cairo is overcome with embarrassment and tells what her essay was about. Jonathan asks her to compose a story in the style of her favorite author. Cairo accepts the assignment, stating that she has read his book in its whole and repeating some of the sentences she enjoyed the most. Jonathan has no idea what to say back to him. Cairo interrupts the awkward pause to apologize. Just as abruptly, Winnie enters the office, and the two of them terminate their talk. Today, the teachers and Beatrice visit a cafe where Vinnie works. Boris teases the girl, and Beatrice wonders how attractive the girl who reads his book is. He responds that she is incredibly intelligent and unusual. Beatrice chooses to tell Jonathan that he is not a writer. He chose to work as a teacher and has never written another book since. Cairo will be attending a writer's circle tomorrow. She believes that this day will be highly meaningful for her. Jonathan is thrilled to see her. A man appears on stage and reads his work. Jonathan pays close attention to what he says, while Cairo only looks at him. She brings coffee to the instructors tomorrow. Boris shares his cookies. Cairo doesn't understand why Boris bakes such excellent cookies, but she doesn't tell anyone. He could resell it. Winnie will be able to create a logo. Today, the girls visited Jonathan's residence. He reveals that he is going on vacation with his wife. Winnie notices the couple sweet-talking each other. As the professors leave, she advises that Cairo make the first move by seducing Jonathan. Boris interrupts the chat. He's decided to sell cookies. Winnie swiftly joined their squad. She only needs his number. That afternoon, Cairo phones Jonathan. He pledges to stop by and visit her before leaving. Cairo believes that when love is genuine, it is calm and immediate. Several hours later, Jonathan arrives at Cairo's residence. She steps out of the house wearing a white dress. All Jonathan can do is stand and watch her approach him. Cairo pauses and motions for him to approach her. Jonathan remains motionless until Cairo takes the initiative. A kiss comes next. When he arrives home, he has to continually communicate with Cairo. Beatrice is disturbed by the notification. This compels Jonathan to withdraw to the barn. There he starts reading Cairo's new book. He gets carried away and imagines that they are the main character. Unable to resist, he does the dirty deed. A new day arrives. Cairo notices Jonathan's strange behavior. She asks what has happened to him. Jonathan replies that she needs to pick a new author. She states that he asked her to write a book about a subject she knows. Jonathan asks if she really knows that. Cairo replies that they do. Seeing how swept away he is, Cairo calls that it's about two similar people denying social constraints. Jonathan still thinks the book is a little too adult. Cairo is sure he's too scared. They're not strangers now. Jonathan tries to explain that she is his pupil and he is her instructor. Cairo still wants to be recognized for her wonderful efforts. Jonathan simply refuses to admit it, referring to himself as redundant but without ambition. He has the potential to be much better, but he is now careless. Before leaving, she places her story in the administrative box. In the evening, the girlfriends get together. Winnie asks if she likes Jonathan. Cairo describes him as an imitation of a sushi petrol station, but she still likes him. Meanwhile, Beatrice learns what his student wrote, but he refuses to reveal who the story was written about. Beatrice successfully persuades him to inform her about the piece. Cairo suggests Winnie write to Boris. She does this. He arrives to see Jonathan's family. Beatrice catches Boris messaging someone, but he refuses to reveal their identity. Boris puts away his phone as the conversation takes a turn. Jonathan receives a call from the administration and is accused of having an inappropriate relationship with Cairo, which he rejects. He realizes that if she can establish that they had something, he may lose his job. Beatrice laments that it's more than simply a job and urges him to be honest. Jonathan insists that nothing occurred. Cairo plans to skip class tomorrow. Winnie seemed to be confused. She attempts to make Jonathan feel guilty, but he appears as cold as possible. Later, Cairo approaches the principal and recounts their adventures. Jonathan needs to defend himself. He is fortunate that their stories match. When given the final question, Cairo states that nothing happened that she did not like. Obviously, Jonathan had no idea what she said, and the inquiry made him very uncomfortable. Boris realizes during recess that Jonathan has fallen in love with Cairo. He has the misfortune of not recognizing a line that cannot be crossed. That is what led him into this mess in the first place. When Beatrice returns home, she asks her questions. Beatrice does not believe his falsehoods. Jonathan couldn't deny there was a spark between them and Cairo. That was the last straw. Beatrice is planning to petition for divorce. Vinny approaches Cairo and pleads with her not to harm Jonathan. It will completely ruin his life. Just to get back at him for rejecting her. Vinny stands in for Jonathan and informs him that Cairo is lying. She swiftly responds that Vinny cannot do it. She and Boris are both covered in dirt. When Cairo finishes writing a book about herself and Jonathan,